validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Yet another Friday. We are making it do what it do today. Almost on time, not quite. I'll push it back a little bit. I had to get me some rest. I'm not gonna lie. There was some stuff going on, and I got a lot of stuff done. I always tell y'all that I get a lot of stuff done. We just checked out what's that thing called, Flip? Trying to see what that's about. Got one video up there yesterday. Gonna put up a couple more today. See what it looks like. Be able to keep you guys up to date with how that works. And that's one of those things where you just throw videos up there, and if those videos work or build traffic, then you end up with a successful quantity of currency. According to Flip, they say that it's like for every 2,000, 1,000, for every 1,000 views that you get, they give you like $30, which is a lot higher than 2 cents a view from YouTube. But when you think about how the requirement to get that $30 might be a little bit staggering, that's going to be a scenario that you will find to be a little bit more challenging than what you would prefer to have happen to you. when you're trying to make these things work, if you're trying to do this for a living. But starting up, building traffic, it might pay out sooner than YouTube for smaller channels. And for those that are popular topics, because basically I went on there yesterday and I seen pretty much everybody that was on TikTok now on Flip. So and they have an alternative on there where they pay you guys out to watch videos as well, and the money that you get from that is directed towards making purchases. So they give you like $5 a day for watching videos if you watch more than 10 every day of the week. And that encourages you to make up to like $150 a month worth of capital that can be utilized for spending power towards making purchases off of the platform. Once we get enough capital there to make a purchase, then we will determine the capabilities of whether or not we can make a purchase without having to put up money, just use the credits from us watching stuff online. And then we'll be able to let you know how that works as well. So we're going to be monitoring that and trying to see how well I can manage it because I got a lot of things going on. But if I can get, 1 or 2 videos a day thrown up there and try to get a lot of videos up there, then we'll see exactly how much traffic that particular thing can work. Because when we were doing it on TikTok, we were averaging like 60,000 views a month. And 60,000 views a month at $30 for every $10,000 would have gotten us like $1,800, right? Because $30 for every $1,000, if you had $6,000, that'd be $180. So it's 60,000 views instead of 6,000 views. We would have been somewhere around $1,800 of currency per month. Now, that would be a fantastic hypothetical. But it is going to be a plug and play scenario, and we're going to have to see how many how well the platform works with the type of content that we produce, and then we'll, like I said, we'll let you know what's going on. Remember, we're live 7 nights a week. We are roughly every night at about 10-ish Central Time, which is about 11-ish Florida time, and that's about 7-ish California time. We are trying to get everything pieced together for those individuals that are going to be coming to the show coming soon, because we still got Sarah coming. As you guys see, that show is still scheduled to be released in June now. We pushed it back a few weeks, but we're still going to air it. So while we've got that pending, all shows are redirecting traffic to take a look at the guest show that's going to be happening on, I want to say May 5th, because school at that time, but it might be the week after that. So we're going to see what's going on with that. And we're going to keep you guys updated. In the meantime, it's been a while. I'll go back and see what Jordan feels like doing, because he might actually want to come to the show now. He might change his mind because, I've voiced my opinion about Jordan not coming to the show about real deal Holyfield type stuff. So we're going to see what's going on. Beyond that, since we're live 7 nights a week, as you guys have experienced, that sometimes we're late, sometimes we're really late, but we never let the sun rise without going live. So what we plan on doing is getting things set up for the next week so that you guys can enjoy a pre-listed schedule if that's possible. While we're working on some other things later tonight, I still got that video for Fit Chef that I got to do so that you guys can take a look at the preparations, and I'm eager to see how it pieces all together, because the before Quill and the aftermath is like not the same. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it in a 9x16 platform, but it depends on the sizing of the screen. So we're going to be getting that together, and then depending on how much time we have left, we'll be able to throw in the highlight reel for Mr. Satellite. Yeah, that's what it was. Drawing a lot of blanks today. Now, today specifically, we were supposed to be dealing with are your relationship goals within your financial reach. And that's something that we wanted to touch base on. So we want you guys to hang out and we can discuss this. And make note, because Tuesday, I believe that we're actually going to talk about a strategy. We're not just going to talk about some stock options. So I'm going to be piecing together values, and I'm going to be piecing together using, I want to say, some of the top 10 or 12 cash paying monthly and quarterly dividend stocks, so that we can start adjusting to that. And we're going to be doing a rollout of, like, hypothetically, if you buy one and then you take the dividends and buy another, and, you know, if there's a 1 or 2 day delay between the purchase and the sale, you know, you're able to move your money from left to right, and you're still able to meet the expectations of having all of your shares in all of the places that you want them to be in, and still be able to receive the maximum quantity of payouts from all of the currency exchanges. So it's exciting to see, and we're looking forward to seeing how that's going to turn itself about. So as we piece that together for Tuesday, just note that we're going to be talking about financial strategies with the stocks that we've been talking about recently. So let's go ahead and dive into today's show, because we're going to be talking about some political stuff on Monday, and different countries to invest in on Wednesday, and our members only Sunday that is going to be open to the public, where we are going to be doing questions and comments from the fans. So we'll be able to cover a whole lot of bases here. But imagine this. You're planning the perfect date, maybe a trendy restaurant, a little pre-date grooming, you know, gas in a tank. You know, you don't want to be stranded anywhere, and maybe a thoughtful gift. Before you know it, fellas, you spent nearly $168 on just one night. And this is on the low end, because just think, when we think about taking somebody dating, you know, some of us like to get our hair done if we don't keep our hair the standard style. Some of us like to go and buy a new outfit or new shoes or something to that effect, and those things cost money. And when you start adding updos and hairstyles and stuff to that effect, you start adding new outfits and new shoes and other such things to your normal day-to-day operation. Your $168 sometimes turns into $360, $700, depending on what all you paid for to make this date successful. Then when you think about, oh, well, you know, bowling is almost like $75 for the night just for one person, and you double that down and you're looking at like $145, $150. You think about movies are sometimes extremely expensive when you think about the almost $25 to $30 a ticket, plus the snacks at $10 to $20 per snack. There's a lot of things that we're doing that used to be very cheap for us to do when we were kids, and now as adults it's extremely expensive. Now, if you're multiplying these numbers by the number of dates that it takes to find, quote unquote, the one, according to recent surveys, the average American spends a staggering $2,279 a year on dating alone. And Gen Zers, despite being early in their careers, are shelling out even more, averaging $2,676 annually. Now, I told you guys how you could be investing that in different places and make money for you. And then you could take the 10% out of the dividend distribution and go on dates with that, which you wouldn't be able to make it to millionaire status if you're out here spending money on dates. But, well, you could. It would take you longer. But if you're spending the interest off of that $2,700 a year, then you'd be going on less dates, but you'd be spending the interest, not the principal. So the principal would always be there. And depending upon how much money per month that principal ends up being, because if you're getting 20% off of almost $3,000, you're looking at almost $150. But that could be an annual distribution, not necessarily a monthly distribution. And if it were an annual distribution, you would be somewhere around $20, $30 a month on dating. it readjusts your mentality as to exactly how much you plan on spending on dating if you're going to invest first and then use the profits from investing to go out on dates. But just taking your paycheck and running out and going on dates, almost $2,700 a year. So let's break it down. Most people going on dates, they're going on 1 or 2 dates per month, but nearly 42% meet up 3 or more times per month, and each date costs about $58.84 per person, with men typically spending 20% more. And if you're dating once a week, that's nearly $2,500 a year just on the food. And that is close to the average that Americans' total monthly food spending costs, which is about $218.42 a month. And if you're aiming for a relationship, research shows that it takes about 7 dates before most couples consider themselves official, racking up $701.96 before you even update your relationship status. What? Now, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but when somebody tell me that I got to put up $1,000 before my status increases, I'm looking at them like, shit. And then picture this, though, that you're still probably going to be paying this for the entire dating phase, unless you and your partner decides that financial importance overrules the chivalrous dating field. But the spending doesn't stop there. You've got birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, and the pressure to keep up with social media worthy moments all add up. In fact, 64.6% of people believe that spending more increases the chance of a successful date. And nearly half of single Americans think their net worth affects their dating prospects. Well, somewhat that is a true statement, because individuals that are looking for a man to be valued more along the lines of his assets and less along the lines of his character, his net worth is going to define the prospects he would be able to attract. Now, those individuals that are higher value towards a man, those individuals are not going to care about your net worth. Those individuals are going to care about your character, and those individuals are not going to be demanding as much of a high net worth. But all women, or a majority of women that aren't already excessively financially successful on their own, are expecting a man to be that financial safety net. So you're going to have to be somewhat financially worthy. That's something that just isn't going to change in current traditions. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room, though, because financial stress is always something that is there that a lot of people try to avoid with the casual small talk at the beginning of the dates. A whopping 70% of Americans report feeling overwhelmed by money issues, and the more stressed people are about their finances, the less likely they are to talk about money with their partner. The silence can turn financial stress into a relationship minefield, making it harder to communicate and solve problems as a team. In fact, researchers found that people often avoid money conversations because they expect conflict to be unsolvable. But couples who refrain from these discussions as teamwork have much healthier communication and stronger bonds. So if you change this from the burden being on one person to this is a group effort, things are a little bit more positive. So how do we balance love and money without breaking the bank or our relationships? Well, the answer is intentional budgeting and open communication. Couples who plan their spending together, set realistic expectations, and view financial challenges as joint problems to solve are more likely to build trust and enjoy lasting happiness. Building a budget together helps both partners understand where money goes, control debt, and avoid overspending. The 50-30-20 rule applies to 50% needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings. Now, this encourages individuals to at least save 20% of their income while spending the other 80. This will put you in about a middle-class lifestyle. I encourage individuals to try to save 50% of their money because you have two incomes. So if one income is going on a standard of living and the other income, 50%, is going on savings, then you're going to have larger profits from your savings, which then could be redirected to the 30% wants. But it's a byproduct of the profits of savings, which is a different structure than most experts that encourage individuals to just go out there and spend 80% of your money and sit on 20% of your money, and you're going to be good for the rest of your life. You're going to be working for the rest of your life. But this is a popular starting point for many couples, because if you're living at 90% or 100% of your income, where you barely have enough money to get from paycheck to paycheck, and you start saving 20% of your money, you will start seeing a little bit of financial freedom, where you're not going to have the stressors of wondering if you can afford to pay for next month's bills, if the money is going to come in on time to catch certain bills, if you have enough money to catch emergencies that need to be done. Some people might let their car go for a number of months without an oil change with the oil light on. Some might not service their vehicles. They might buy used tires instead of new tires because they can't afford the new tires. They will diminish their overall quality of life to save $1 instead of reinvesting a larger majority of their money towards savings and then utilizing those savings to offset needs that are normally not met inside of the budget, the 50% budget for needs. Now, take into consideration the fact that if you two want to invest the money, you would ideally probably do a 60-40, where 60% covers wants and needs combined, and then the other 40 gets invested. But that requires you to communicate finances with a partner within the first 7 days to find out if the person that you're talking to has the mentality and mindset of being a financial partner. Because if you have a person with the financial mindset of being a financial partner, then you have a person with the mindset of aiding you in being successful. Now, you want to regularly review your spending and adjust these things as needed. But money management isn't a one-time task. You have to schedule regular check-ins to discuss bills, savings, and any financial concerns. So while there is a day-to-day, month-to-month routine that you guys have to do, there are things that come up periodically that are annual things, like renewal of vehicle registrations, renewal of driver's licenses, renewals of certifications, business licenses, and other such things that are one-off bills out of the year that is not a regular occurrence. So you have to revisit your saving strategy to include covering these one-time fees. Now, this keeps both partners engaged and helps prevent misunderstandings, because if it goes without saying that something is supposed to be done and the other got about it, they're expecting the availability of capital to be higher than what it actually is. Most of us have this problem when we start setting up a lot of automatic bill pay and we start forgetting that certain bills are due because they're always paid. And then what will happen is that we don't get charged for something when we expect to get charged for it. And then we spend the money that we set aside for that. And then we get the charge after the fact, where the charge gets declined because we spent more money than what we had. It is important to make sure that we keep our partners up to date, let them know, hey, while we've saved a few $100 extra, we got to spend a couple $100 on a registration for the vehicles. You need glasses, I need glasses. We got to spend money on that. Whatever is coming up so that you guys can plan for it. And I know a lot of people who say, oh, I've got vision insurance. I don't have to worry about that. All right, that's fine. You're spending $25 a month for 12 months. Okay. $25 a month for 12 months. 10 months is $1,250. So if you add another $50 to that, that's $1,300 for the year for vision insurance. Your eye exam costs $69. Your glasses cost $130. So if you're paying $25 a month for vision every month for the whole year, you're getting one doctor's appointment per year and one free pair of glasses out of that doctor's appointment. If you're lucky, 2 free pairs of glasses out of that doctor's appointment, right? Your glasses might cost, regular pair of glasses, not mine. Mine are like $1,000. That's not going to work. But a regular pair of glasses will probably run you about $200. So if you've got vision insurance, get you a free pair of glasses. But again, you're spending $1,300 a year for vision insurance for you to get one free $100 eye exam and one free $200 or $300 pair of glasses, which means that you're throwing away an extra $1,000 because the insurance does not cover more than that. See, when I told every vision center about the type of glasses that I need, they said, well, we'll give you 20% off. But the 20% off is ridiculous because I'm paying almost $1,000. You take 20% off, you're going to take almost $200 off. I'm still giving you $1,300 a year. I might get the free eye exam and I might pay $600 or $700 for my glasses instead of paying almost $1,000. But the difference is that I gave you $1,300 and I still spent an extra $600 for my glasses. That makes absolutely no sense. I would save money, especially since I get a new prescription once every 2 to 3 years. I would save money putting that $25 a month aside for a number of years. And then when my vision gets too bad for me to satisfy my ability to wear glasses, then I go and get me an eye exam with the profits off of the savings, where I would have saved $1,300 a year for 2 years and have $2,600 to go to the doctor and get myself a pair of glasses instead of getting the eye insurance. Now, that has nothing to do with like health insurance. Yeah, you want to get health insurance because unexpected surgeries, you only got to pay the deductible. You want that peace of mind. But vision insurance, nah, that's not necessary. But since this is going to keep both parties engaging, and they're not going to be misunderstanding the situation, they're not going to be wondering where the money went, you're not going to be having falling outs with one another where you're arguing and fussing at one another, you'll be able to find yourself in a position where everybody knows what's going on. You'll have better peace of mind. Research shows that married couples who manage finances together, such as using joint bank accounts, tend to be happier, fight less about money, and feel more satisfied with how finances are handled. While this isn't the only path, it's worth considering if you want to strengthen your financial partnership. Now, making sure that when you're doing joint bank accounts, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have personal bank accounts. It just means that whatever money that's going towards the relationship goes into the joint bank account, and whatever money stays to yourself, that goes into a separate personal bank account. So this does not mean that like first 7 dates you open up a joint bank account, but once you guys become official meaning you start living together, at that point a joint bank account might be relevant, because as long as you two are living separate lives and meeting up frequently, you're only able to discuss if you can afford that, if it's in line with your budget and what your availability is. But once you decide let's move in together, then you decide to get a joint bank account. And when you get that joint bank account, then your partner is able to see how much money you put into the joint bank account. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to put it all in there. It just means that, if you know that the lights, gas, water, car insurance costs X number of dollars, that's how much money you're putting in there. And then if she's going to contribute half, then she's going to put money in there as well. And whatever she doesn't put in there, that's what she's going to do for herself. And whatever you don't put in there, that's what you're going to do for her and yourself, because guys are expected to take care of girls financially outside of the basic necessities. But be upfront about your budget. If a date idea is out of your price range, even if you're not the one paying for it, if you think about, hypothetically, had you been the one responsible for paying for it, suggest a fun, lower cost alternative, like a coffee shop meetup instead of a romantic dinner, a walk in the park instead of movies, or a free community event. I know some people like to go on dates and rent those electric scooters where like $10 or $20 to ride around the city for a couple hours on little electric scooters. That's something that can be done. It's reasonably affordable. But setting financial boundaries early helps avoid resentment and keeps both people comfortable. This isn't about being cheap. It's about being honest and responsible. There is a tradition about gift giving in relationships where you're supposed to start small and work your way up to the expensive things. And if you treat it dating the same way, where you're supposed to start with no cost or low cost dating, basically like the first 5 or 10 dates are like inside of $5, inside of $5 a person. And then the second 7 dates might be inside of like $15 a person. And then like the next, you see what I'm saying? And scale up a little bit. Then you would be able to say, okay, by the time we've been doing this for 6 months, we're at about $30 or $40 a person. But think about all the money you're wasting doing that. Either way, there's no universal rule for splitting dating costs. Some couples alternate paying while others split the bill or cover their own expenses. And I think that going Dutch is not a problem. But I also think that if the man was supposed to pay and the man is paying for a specific amount of stuff and the woman wants something extra on top of that, she should be able to cover that for herself, even if he's paying for everything. So if he brought her out to dinner and it was supposed to be just like the appetizers that they shared and 1 entree per person and maybe 2 drinks, 3 drinks total per person, where it's 1 before the meal, 1 during the meal, and 1 after the meal, right? Now, what happens if the person that you're with, she wants dessert, she wants like 6 extra drinks? She should be able to say, okay, yeah, I understand that you're paying for the dinner, but I asked for unnecessary stuff and I feel more comfortable with covering the extra. That is a conservative way of showing mutual respect instead of charging it to the underhills. If you know that you're a lush and you know that when you start drinking, you go from drinking 1 to drinking 8, you see that by the end of the day that you've had like 12. He might offer the pay, but you might tell the waitress, put a separate check for like 6 of those drinks, 6 or 8 of those drinks. So it's like, nah, 1 for 1. You had 2, I had 2, you pay for those, I'll pay for the rest of the ones that I did. I know what I'm about. I got it. And that shows a little bit of conservation. There is this situation there that is starting to come about, and I've mentioned it before. Now, some critics indicate that this is bad practice because it's supposed to be an investment on a blind date. But I believe that from the perspective that if a woman thinks that the date is not going the way she would want it to go, that she should pay for the date on the way out. Now, some people are going to say that's dirty, but look, he tried. He put up the scenario and you reimburse the difference because you decided to sneak out of a back room. Like some people think, oh, well, you know, that shouldn't be the thing. But I'm a firm believer. I'm like, if you're not satisfied with his efforts, reimburse him. Now, respectfully, if you maintain open discussions with what feels fair. Nearly 50% of people have asked for contributions or refunds after a bad date. So clearing up communication can help avoid awkwardness later. And truth is that uh it should be a scenario where if you're abandoning a date, and this is what I as a man would consider a bad date. A good date is a date where everybody's connecting, we really want to see each other a second time. A normal date where we didn't dislike each other, but we don't really see much of a connection there. Uh, that's one where we enjoyed the date itself, but we're not interested in another. That's where the line stops. When a woman doesn't like where she's at and she walks out on the date, that's what I consider a bad date. When you decide that I'm not even going to let this date finish, I am out of here, that is when I believe that you should be able to say, you know what, let me just pay for what I've cost him already and walk myself up out of here. Because the truth is, like, we've had people on the show plenty of times where the guy has made reservations for a bunch of stuff. Sometimes you got to pay for those reservations. If she decides that she's bailing out on the activities before the situation is up, the day of the event, there isn't a refund on the reservations. The guy is taking a financial loss for her ability to not be satisfied with the situation. And this isn't a thing where he's insulted her intelligence, he pissed her off, he degraded her, disrespected her in some kind of way. Nah, he just eats the cost. I'm just saying, like, she didn't like it. Like, they went to the Cheesecake Factory first and he had something bigger planned, but he thought that he would stop off and get some cheesecake, and she cops an attitude and slides out. Well, I feel like probably should just like throw something down on the table for the fact that you're not satisfied with the effort. That's my opinion. Now, some people aren't going to agree with that, but that's my opinion. Only when the guy does something wrong should you be walking out of the date. If you thought that he looked different and you're just leaving because he's not what you thought he was, you're going to sneak out the bathroom, you're going to sneak out the back, you're going to try to take the long way around the restaurant so that you can walk out the front door, leaving the man sitting there holding a check kind of thing. Now, I feel like respectfully, you should just like find your waiter or waitress and like at least cover 60% of the check and be like, look, hey, I'm gone. This should cover most of it. And, I'm out. Because when you start talking about awkward moments, it's awkward once he realizes that his date stood him up. And most people don't care because they're never going to talk to the other person again. But show some decorum, show some chivalry in there. Show some mutual respect in there, because nobody wants to be the person that got stood up. Nobody wants to be the person that got left on the date. Nobody wants to be the person that got walked out on the check. So, don't be the person that's doing that walking. Now, while 64.6% believe spending more leads to more successful relationships, research and world experience shows that meaningful connections aren't built on expensive outings. If you prioritize experiences that allow you to get to know each other rather than impressing with lavish spending, you will find that you are going to have a better time, and you're going to formulate better, more genuine connections with individuals that you would want to spend most of, if not the rest of your life with. Keep in mind, with high inflation, these damn tariffs, and the rising living costs, many singles are dating less or choosing more budget-friendly activities. If you guys are going to propose some unique, affordable dates, like hiking, and not like trailblazing up the side of a cliff, just like a walk in the woods, and not a walk in the woods where like stalker kind of walk in the woods. No, like an actual like open area, hopefully some witnesses around kind of thing. You want to make sure that your partner is comfortable on the dating scenario. But outside of hiking, cook together, for Christ's sakes. I know women don't like cooking anymore. It's such an oppressive thing, but men know how to cook damn good because we don't have any women that we can count on to feed us. So men cook damn good. And ladies, if y'all want to learn how to cook, since y'all forgot how to do it and don't want to do it, you get in there and cook with your man. Then it wouldn't be so oppressive. So if he can get this, that actually could be a whole date, believe it or not. Go to the grocery store, pick the stuff that y'all want to cook for dinner, buy it, split the bill at the register, come back to the house, start cooking the meal together. From the grocery shopping together to the commuting back to the house together to cooking together to enjoying the meal together, that is a reasonable date, which, depending on what kind of meal you're cooking, could end up being $175 for it. But there's more bonding there. What do you like? What do you don't like? What are you allergic to? Right? And then how to cooperate to be successful for an ulterior motive, such as a well-cooked meal. Now, if you're not doing that, you can also attend a free local event, but you want to keep things fun and memorable without overspending. Like those romantic TV shows where it's not even the first date, it's like the 18th or 20th date, and they're like doing the romantic dinner scene where they're burning the pot, and some kind of way they do a cut scene from the romantic interlude to actually having food on the table. Y'all could actually recreate something like that without burning the kitchen down and still be able to have yourselves a romantic date with an individual that respects and values you. And these are the things that we need to aim for. Now, most financial experts and real world data suggests allocating about 2 to 5% of your post-tax income for dating activities. And since this is considered a reasonable expectation for most people, you want to utilize this range to allow you to enjoy regular dates, such as one date night per week, without putting strain on your overall finances. And also, this could include personal entertainment. So remember, if you take, for example, someone earning about $4,500 per month after taxes might spend $90 to $225 monthly on dating. Divide those numbers into four. That's $45 every 2 weeks for $90, which is what, $22 a week on dating. That's like a pizza. That's like 2 tall cups of Starbucks. That's like keep it simple. So if you remember that, since many people including dating expenses with their broader entertainment or fun budgets, you're actually going to be able to utilize your spending budget to overlap with other social activities. So you don't always have to take the person on a one-on-one personal engagement. You can also take them out on social functions, like going to a book signing or, picking up something from Barnes and Nobles or something to that effect. It's important to set some non-negotiable expectations for behavior, and you want to make sure that there is limits to the financial reliability, and you want to make adjustments as needed, especially as the average date in the United States now costs about $58.84. Now, ladies, one thing that y'all are going to have to start doing is appreciating chivalry, like allowing men to open the doors if they offer to do so, or order for the woman. Some women are not going to really feel okay with that. They're going to feel like, you ain't telling me what to do. But be real. If you want a masculine man, you want a man that is a leader, you want a man that is a decision maker. In order for you to test that, you've got to see if he's capable of making decisions. Some of the things that y'all talk about on the way to dinner is, what do y'all like to eat? Then the quiz is, did he remember any of what the fuck I just said? Order my food at the dinner table. And you don't have to say it like that. You could just tell the waiter or waitress, I'll let him choose. And then see if he remembers what you've said. And you can give him some hints if he's kind of nervous and confused, and he starts asking you some questions, and you are able to provide him with some feedback, but give him the ability to take the lead. The waiter or waitress usually gives you guys enough time to look over the menu and discuss what y'all might want, which also gives him the further analysis of recognizing the things that you actually like off of the menu, which allows him to be able to tell the waiter or waitress when they walk up that this is what you wanted, and this is what he wanted, and this is what y'all are going to get in addition to that. Now, if you understand that, while also being responsive and considerate, you'll be able to create a dynamic balance that many men appreciate. Avoid overcomplicating the date or stressing about impressing. You got to get that out of your head. It is not about the man impressing you, ladies, because your ability to choose the man that is going to make the decisions that you agree with so that you can get the leader that you want to have requires you to start looking for the characteristics in the man that you believe benefit your objective. So being wowed by the event has nothing to do with the man. He could take you to space and it be miraculous, but if Chris Brown took you to space, you're still getting your ass whooped. You got to understand, you're looking for better character. So you need to start doing things in your first 2, 3, 5, 7 dates to find out what kind of character he has. Put your wallet down. Show me what you're capable of. Because if all he can do is talk with his money, he's very shallow. Not meaning that he's shallow emotionally, he's shallow with character, because if he has nothing other than his money to bring to the table, there's nothing else about him of reasonable value, then you've got to ask yourself, what kind of fulfilling relationship can you have if he's going to throw his money at everything in this relationship? While women will, for some reason, agree to accepting a man throwing money at them, even receiving a bunch of money from a man, they're still going to feel a sense of loneliness because the emotional bond isn't there, the physical bond isn't there, and every time she wants to connect, he will put a stack of cash in the way of their connection. She will end up taking the cash and going on a date with somebody else because the fulfillment isn't there. So ladies, to prevent yourselves from being in that situation where you will feel the motivation to do that, you want to chase down the character of the individual. My man Ruderus, he came in. Ruderus is smacking me down today. I seen some of them moves. I was sitting over here looking. I was like, man, you ain't have it. Have it. He got me on the first game. Every other game since then, I don't know what's been going on, but Ruderus got me stuck in like 8 different chess matches. I'm not gonna do like since me and him make a move every day. Now I'm getting challenges from random people. I don't know why these people are challenging me because I suck. I suck bad. I'm in like the bottom 5s. I think I'm at like 600 or 685, 720, something like that. I'm very low in the ranking. Although I haven't played the rankings in a while, but I can tell you, I'm not doing good. I can't see myself getting above 900. I can't see it. I don't know what it is. To get to 1,000 is like a challenge for me. But you know, some people are just better. They're good at that. Ruda says you can try low time controls. I've done those. The speed ones, like 60 seconds. And if you look at my record, I've won a lot of those. But anything that gives them 10 minutes, a 10-minute match, oh yeah, I lost. I lose more than I win. I got like a 30 or 40% victory rate if I'm doing like 10-minute games. I don't know what happens with the 3-day game, the 3 days per move game, but if 10 minutes back to back, some kind of way, I guess I allow myself to get flustered and I make a bad move and then I get cornered. But oh, he said he hit 1830 there. Yeah, I got pretty decent. I can't say I got to 1830. I think I got to like 12 or 1300 with the 60-second moves. But again, with the 60-second moves, I was somewhere closer to like 60 to 70% victories on that one. But when I'm doing more than 5 minutes, no, that 40% victory rate. But they're always matching me with somebody that's better than me. They're not matching me with somebody that's on my level. It's not like we're both like 900. They'll put my 973 up against a 1284, and then they'll smoke me. And I'm just sitting over here like, well, it is what it is. I only played chess when I was growing up so that I can bond with my brother. So because I was never a chess guy, so I just I learned how to do it so that I could spend time with family. But I like the nuclear thing where if you take a pawn, it blows up all the areas around. So now you're strategically putting your pieces in places where if they take your piece, they lose like 5 or 7 pieces. I like that game. I think that's pretty interesting. And if you take a piece close enough to the king, you kill the king anyway, even if the king wasn't involved in the trade-off. So I like that collateral damage. That's actually a pretty good game. 60 seconds is hilarious because you're not trying to win, you're trying to ride the clock out. And I played a draw, so I'm good at riding the clock out. But some people are just better than I am. I'm not the best in the world. At chess, I am better than most at other things, but I haven't mastered any one thing other than not being broke. That's the only thing that I have put my foot down on. I'm like, nope. Readjusting budgets, investing, spending, save, and then spend the profits. That's where we are right now. But it's definitely good that you dropped in today. I'm gonna be taking some more moves after tonight's show, so we'll see exactly where things go. Probably gonna have me pinned up against a wall. He says, explosions. Yeah, I tried that. I play that with my friends during holidays. We cannot stop laughing when queen blows out. Dude, try having a pawn blow up a queen, 2 rooks and a knight, or 2 bishops and a rook. Either way, you put your pawn in the right spot and they take your pawn and all of their pieces are gone. All of their good pieces are gone. That's a situation where it's like, oh boy. And between that one and the other one that I used to play with my buddy, we played where the pieces you take from your opponent, you can put back on the field. So I would take all of his players, and then I would, like, as the game progressed, I would take all of his good pieces, and then I would throw them back in to the match. And he would get frustrated. He's like, I just killed that piece. I'm like, well, what can I tell you? I had a clip running on a show at one point in time because he did not know that there was a game like that. He's like, how are you cheating? I'm like, bro, I can't hack the game. I just started it. But I had took 2 of his knights, 2 of his rooks, and 2 of his bishops. He was taking my pieces with the queen, and as he took the pieces with my queen, I put them back on the field because I had 2 of his. He's like, I just killed that piece. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to kill it again. And once he realized what was going on, then he was like, oh, I think I can handle this. He stopped paying attention to the show completely and was just dead set on trying to win this game. That's when I started blowing him up with the nuclear thing. So that one was anti-chess. Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I love doing. Because then if you're playing with somebody who's not used to putting pieces back on the game, because you see that in partners where if I take a piece from you, my partner can take your piece and put it on their board. And then if you take a piece from him, then he could take and put it on our board. And that scenario led to, with one-on-one, if I take your piece on my turn, I could put your piece back on the board as my turn, which puts more pieces on my side of the board. And I think that's pretty strategic, because now you got to ask yourself, which pieces are you going to allow to get taken and which pieces you're going to take? Because since you could put it back anywhere on the board, you can actually take their knight, find an opening, and put their knight on the board, checking the other person's king, having a knight backed up by a pawn. So in order for them to protect the king, they got to take your knight and sacrifice their player, where you could then put their player back on the board in the same spot right next to the king, kind of pushing the king into a corner kind of situation. I love it. I love it. When you are bored of chess, they are best of companies. And not gonna lie, bro, because I get bored quick. If I play 5 or 7 games in a day, like, I don't really want to play chess anymore for a week. But like one move at a time, and I don't see the results of the game for like a week, I don't mind it. But just like completing 5 or 7 different matches in a day, I'm bored with it. I actually have like 7 or 8 video games on my cell phone that I alternate through, and some of them I'm so bored with I don't even log in anymore. But the ones that I can actually find some excitement with, I at least log in once a day and do like 15-20 minutes on each game, and then I get back to work and start doing other stuff. So, you know, short attention span, but not good enough. Not good enough to say that TikTok can keep me. If I give TikTok 4 hours, I'm not logging in for the rest of the month. Ritter says, great, you are doing good. Hey, well, I try. See, usually I end up with a stalemate, but as of late, I've been getting more victories than losses and not getting many stalemates. So if my goal was to tie the game, I'm failing. I'm failing by winning. All right, moving on. So when we were talking about you guys not overcomplicating the dates, the goal is to enjoy and get to know the other person without pressure. We want to make sure that we're finding the right match when we're going on these dates. So ladies, you want to match the investment of the man. If he plans a date, she might suggest the next activity or offer to cover a small expense. Like, for example, if the guy takes you out on a cruise, you go on a cruise, you select some of the activities, you might actually pay for those activities. But instead of making the responsibility fall on him to dictate every single step of the day, to plan out every single step of the day, if he creates the location, you should be able to find activities that you both can enjoy. So not just the stuff that you like, but find things that you think he might like, that even if it's something that you don't like, that you guys could do together. Like going to Disney World. You could go to Disney World and go to some of the exhibits that guys like, and then go to some of the exhibits that you like. And then, you know, y'all can find something that y'all can do in between and pick up souvenirs, stuff to that effect. And this will show that she values the connection and is willing to contribute to the positive dating experience. This balance approach avoids over investing too soon, but also signals that she's not passive. She's engaged and she's interested. So women should remember to participate in activities the man enjoys and introduce him to her own hobbies, building shared experiences and memories. Trying new things together, even outside of her comfort zone, shows adaptability and a willingness to grow together. So just because he took you to the Cheesecake Factory instead of taking you to Ruby Tuesdays, you could go to the Cheesecake Factory and eat at the Cheesecake Factory because he might like something at the Cheesecake Factory and you like him. That's all that matters. So here's my challenge for you. Think about your own relationship goals. Are you budgeting for them or just hoping for the best? Have you ever canceled a date because of money worries? If so, you're not alone. 44% of singles have adjusted or canceled dates due to financial pressure. There are a lot of women that don't feel comfortable with going out on a date if she can't afford to contribute. So you might set up a date, she might cancel the date, not because she doesn't like you, but because she doesn't have enough money to match the date that you're trying to take her on. So it's always important for you to remember to be open and honest with the situation. If something came up and money's tight, you could just call and say, hey, I'm not too sure about going on a date. I was hoping to spend X, Y, and Z, and now I don't have it. Something came up, blah, 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 blah. I'd prefer to reschedule. And you say, well, it's not a problem. How about this? How about I cover whatever it is that you wanted to get this time, and then you cover whatever we do next time. And that way you don't feel indebted to the relationship or indebted to the first date because you're compensating with the second date. Reciprocation doesn't have to be all in the same activity, all in the same action. And truth is, women should never feel indebted to a man. If a man is paying for things, and especially if a man is volunteering and insisting on paying for things, he's not supposed to be paying for things under the expectation that she's going to reciprocate in a physical fashion. That's the appropriate way to put it. In the event that he is insisting on compensating, then he is compensating with the expectation of no reciprocation physically. Now, ladies, if you're going to reciprocate appropriately. Like I said, if he was taking you out to a basic dinner and you went and got the deluxe dinner, then you reciprocate by taking him on a reasonably moderate date to offset the difference. He might have taken you out to a lavish dinner and you decide to cook him a lavish dinner, where it might have cost him a few $100s for the lavish dinner, but it might have cost you half a day to make the lavish dinner. The difference is that you are reciprocating with effort in scenarios where you're not necessarily reciprocating with capital. Think about that. That's very important. So make sure that you guys keep the conversation going. I want you guys to share your stories in the comments. And if you want practical tips on building a budget that supports your relationship dreams, check out some of the videos that we're going to be talking about soon, because we do have another relationship topic coming up tomorrow. Remember, love doesn't have to cost a fortune, but a little planning goes a long way. So since we understand where we are with our relationship budgeting and our ability to make money for us, I want you guys to make sure that you come back tomorrow. Make sure you like and subscribe as you pass by. Make sure that you come back tomorrow for the topics that we're going to be discussing tomorrow, and then entertain our question and comments on Sunday. Then, after we finish talking about the debacles of the Trump administration that is causing I can't call them debacles, but I'm calling them debacles because the things that they are doing, macro level changes that are going to be disruptive to the average everyday American. Now, we can bounce back from it eventually, but it's going to hit us a little bit. We're going to be dealing with a little bit of inconvenience. And as those inconveniences mow themselves over, we'll be able to see financial success. So as we talk about those things on Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be talking about where we're going to be putting ourselves with the stocks and bonds and stuff that we're going to be investing in. So that's all I have for you guys for today. I want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Special shout out to Ruderus, Bayside, Usman, Mr. Satellite, Mr. Pibbs, Reese Martinez, Joseph Hernandez, Jesse. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. Danny Steffen and Red Void from Twitch, Dan from Twitter. I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. We are about 75% male following. This is a male-driven podcast from a male's perspective that the women can learn a lot from. So I encourage you to come. Thank you guys for coming to This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.